Well, boys, spent a few hours a day, a little bit, harvesting parts, and well, I know some people like to know, where's an easy supply of parts. Well, the most easiest supply of parts is old circuit boards, old electronic equipment, and the stuff that's in those. In that equipment would blow your mind. Some of the parts and some of that equipment is actually fairly expensive if you had to buy it now. Like everything in these bins has been harvested from electronic parts and devices. So I'm just going to show you the stuff that I've managed to come up with today in about a 4-hour or 5-hour desoldering job. And sometimes I get in the mood for desoldering stuff. Quite time consuming, but it's also quite rewarding at the end. So basically, right here is what we've salvaged today. So let's start with this here circuit board. It's an old power supply from a camera, or not a camera, probably a VCR or something, not quite sure. But I did scrap it and saved this power supply board. And you may ask yourself, why would you save that? Well, A, it's a switching power supply. It's not for very high amperage, I wouldn't think. Maybe an amp, possibly. But it's the voltages on the output that can be quite useful for projects, such as we have voltages as low as 4 volts. So we got 4 volts, 5 volts, 6 volts. We have 14 volts as well as 21 volts, and that's DC. So I was actually tempted to taking a case I got here from an old power supply up here and mounting this board into it and put a bunch of terminals on the output of the power supply, like the ones I got there the other night, and make it a basically an outboard power supply. Power supply with multiple voltages on it. Have a tap there for 4 volts, 5 volts, 6 volts, 14 volts, and 21 volts. Why not? Sometimes you got circuits that can that'll work on 5 volts, maybe 4 volts, maybe 6 volts. You always make circuits that'll work with 14 volts. And sometimes, if you got 24 volt gear, maybe you want to run it at 21 volts just to see if it'll power it. But yeah. This was scrapped out of a working piece of equipment, so I had no doubt in my mind that this is a working power supply. So yeah, that is one thing I salvaged today. So let's go over this way. These things I salvaged, I've had these now a while. I salvaged them out of an old Motorola transmitter. There's probably 2 of them from the looks of it. Basically these are antenna relay switches, 12 volt. And back then, they never used transistors to do the actual switching between receive and transmit. They used relays, and not switching multiple circuits either. These relays actually physically switched the receive side and the transmit side on the antenna. So yeah, these can be quite useful. I'm not sure how much these would be to replace today, but I would expect these would probably be a little bit expensive to buy now if you had to. Maybe dime a dozen, I don't know, but they're pretty cool to have. They're 12 volt at 100 ohms. So yeah, got 2 of them. So in this one here, this bin, we got a bunch of fuses. Fuses always come in handy, as you always know. Fuses are good for everything, so I should save all those from pieces of equipment. And I got a bunch of these momentary switches, for circuit boards. You know what you always use these for? PTT switches, mode switches, Up and down switches for microphones. Well, pretty much your imagination is the limit as to what you can use these momentary switches for. And these are in a lot of equipment nowadays. Next thing I got is a bunch of inductors. Yep, you all know inductors are good to keep handy. And good for making tuned circuits, playing with VCOs and whatnot. And trying to make a bit of slip and slide on the clarifiers. Yep, these are the critters that can make that happen. And then we have crystals here. Crystals are always useful. Well, great for building transmitters and stuff. I have one crystal there. I think it's this one, I'm not sure. Here we go. It's a 3.579. Say 3.580 is what I'll call it. That could actually be a transmitter in the making right there. So yeah, crystals are always useful. And I have these guys. They're no use to me, but if anybody out there on YouTube land got a use for these things for an old Motorola repeater. These are tones, vibroresponders. They get set to tones in the old repeaters. They're plug-in modules, and this one is for tone 110.9 Hertz. If anybody's got a use for these, I have two of them there. Shoot me up there on YouTube and in the comments below, and I can get these to you. I'm sure you can find them more useful than me. And of course, we got LEDs. LEDs are useful for indicators and just about everything else. There's even an infrared one LED down there on the little steel case for remote control applications. And then we've got diodes. Diodes are in everything. And there's various sizes there, various types. Haven't sorted them out yet, but there's everything there from rectifier diodes, switching diodes, there's Vector diodes there, and there's probably even a scattered Zener diode there. Diodes always come in handy for everything. And then transistors. You can never have enough transistors, especially that one right in the middle, 2N3055. That's the brains, my son, of a power supply sitting there. Somebody had to build himself a power supply soon and have a little step up current amp. I get 5 amps. Never know. There's a power supply in the making there. What do you think? And of course, electrolytic capacitors. These guys are in everything. Everything. Some of these are kind of older types, but probably still useful. Probably not. Who knows? But electrolytic capacitors in everything nowadays. Well, even back then. Back in the golden days. They've been always useful. And of course, resistors. Can't build a circuit without resistors. And of course these little trimmers, they're always dandy to have. I have to say. So yeah. Gotta like the resistors. Electrolytic capacitors, transistors, fuses, momentary switches, inductors, crystals, LEDs, diodes. So yep. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Oh yes, and of course, heat sinks for projects. Building transmitters, you need heat sinks for your transmitters. Yep, yep, you're right. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, you might be onto something. You got a 3.560 crystal, heatsink, transistors, current amp. Yeah, you're thinking what I'm thinking. And if you're thinking what I'm thinking, if you're thinking correct, it's gonna be time to build a transmitter. Anyways, all the best, guys. Thanks for watching, and there'll be another video up shortly after this one. and it's going to be interesting. I've built it in the past. It does work, and I think you'll find it interesting to see it again. Anyways, thanks for watching. All the best. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Lots of videos to look through, and lots more to come up. All the best. Reno63, out.